Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. It's me, Suleiman Ben Sware, starting this program on the new platform, the Open Gambia platform. And all subsequent programs and postings, publications would be on the Open Gambia platform. I would ask the listeners, the viewers, to follow the page, like the page, follow the page, to be in touch with our programming. And just a minute. Okay. Today this Friday, the last Friday before Tobaski tomorrow. We saying Juma Mubarak and wishing you all a happy Tobaski. Today is the 8th of July 2022, and the time's just gone 16 minutes past 6 in the afternoon in Birmingham, England. I'll appeal to you guys to please share, you the viewers. It's a new channel, it's a new platform, for you to please share this program so that we can get the viewers required to make the program more interesting. And I will start this program and to remind the viewers that it is about accountability. And it happens to be an investigation I did into the reasons behind the police abusing the powers they are given, the police enforcing illegal orders, on undermining the rule of law, and abusing the rights of citizens, human rights of citizens. This issue is very important to me, and is very important for the nation. If we are to progress, if we are to have peace, if we are to move away from our history of failed governance, our history of dictatorship, we have to ensure we hold the system accountable. And by holding the system accountable, we cannot continue to blame Adama Barrow. We cannot continue to blame ministers, but we have to hold people who are directly, especially people who are heading institutions. And those institutions that they are heading, we have to hold them accountable for what they do. This ensured I decided to have another approach to what was going on. Because yes, it's about the case of what prompted this. It's about the case of the land that was owned, that's owned by, that's owned by the medical organization that Neneh Freda Gomes is the local representative on the ground. And we all, that's the same land that been issued to a Senegalese national in the pretext that he's going to build a hotel for the OIC. And this is where it keep on going on social media, and I will just refer to a post that I've written to guide me to deliver this introduction to the program. Then I will go on to the material evidence and what I found from the police files and the investigation to expose the crime that the police are committing, under the influence of the political actors and for the interests of themselves, individuals, and the interests of the Senegalese national, Mr. Abdoulie Thiam. If you allow me, this is a post I did yesterday, and I said the investigation, investigating abuse of police powers. I said I am reaching out to you regarding an ongoing sorry, that's actually something else. Okay, that's actually the allegations, and the material evidence I found, information I received, and the material evidence I found are so disturbing. I have done something I don't really do, because both people involved, the senior people in charge of this investigation, are people I know. people I have connection with, people I have spoke to before, people I had personal respect for. And when I saw this, I had to send a note to them last night, because everything was finalized last night, and send a note to the IGP of the police, Inspector General of Police, and to explain to him what I am about to do, what prompted me to do an investigation at what I found, and pointed to information and evidence, material evidence where I have access to, and the allegations are so damning that I would expect his reaction to these allegations. He have not responded to me. The second person too is Mr. Pa Ali Jawara. Pa Ali Jawara, again, is someone I'm connected to, someone I communicated to. I do communicate to at times when it's necessary, and he is the head of the Interpol. I had to do the same thing, to reach out to him and send him a note, clearly spelling out the reasons for contacting him, and what I have come across and the allegations that are made. And I have made it known to them that I'm coming out today to speak about these allegations, because they're so disturbing. That's what I did. Now, other thing I did yesterday, in order to get to the facts, I published a few days ago that I am going to launch an investigation to look behind the scenes. What we call follow the money. If you want to find some of these things, you have to follow what the influences are, the motive, and in this case, money or whatever it is, political pressure or due pressure, everything else might amount to that. And in that, I went to look at the background, because I know a bit of a background of the person involved here, Mr. Abdoulie Thiam, who is rarely spoke about when we talk about this land issue. I went and looked at the background of Abdoulie Thiam, not only what I know in Senegal, but what he's been doing in the Gambia, and how he came about getting access to this land, and his relationship, and why it had to be what it is. And when I wrote the post, I said, why is the state using the police to break the law in the land dispute case between Freda Gomes and GHOMMS? Whilst court have consistently confirmed the legality of Neneh Freda Gomes and his organization ownership of their land, she and others have been subjected to illegal arrest and harassment. I say she and others because in the due process of finding out or investigating, I found out another case relating to this Mr. Abdoulie Thiam and the police acting illegally in enforcing an investigation that is illegal, and in the process abusing the rights of a citizen. I continue in my post to say, the narrative in social media have focused on the state and harassment and abuse of Ms. Gomes' rights by denying her access to the land. The court made a judgment in her favor. That's where the social media or the narrative, or let's say press narrative, have been focused in. But I want to look at it in another angle. You have to use a different perspective if you want to get to the facts. And then that's why I launched this investigation. The better, I said in the post, to better understand why the state is behaving unlawfully, undermining the rule of law and violating the human rights of a citizen, I decided to investigate to expose what's behind the scenes in solving the mystery by looking into the case from the perspective of following the money. In some cases, the motive of a crime is for material wealth. Then to solve an issue that involves substantial financial resources, we have to look at the actors and their economic background. This is why I choose this way of investigation. The actors, these are the people enforcing the law. The actors, these are the people benefiting from the transactions and in what may come. It's not only about the political pressure, but there's another motive which is of material means or greediness that ensue. I continue to say, Mr. Abdoulie Thiam is no stranger to controversy. Checking public records from his home country, Senegal, have indicated that he conducted his business dealing bypassing regulations and breaking the law. These are strong allegations, but I rest these allegations on facts and on evidence and from public records in Senegal. You see, this is what we expect of our institutions. Before we engage people, before we give people anything, we have to make sure that they are people who are fit for purpose in doing business. But no, because of this, Abdoulie Thiam have a history of getting into controversy because of the way he operates. His mode of operandi is what to bypass the regulations, bypass the laws, break the laws, and in order to induce and control influence that he inflict pain onto people in order to gather wealth. I continue to say in the post, his mode of operandi is to befriend the head of state and buy in political capital, then use that leverage to be awarded contracts without following the due process and using his influence with the law enforcement to muscle out any person that stands in his way. Again, based on fact. Mr. Abdoulie Thiam, as if people that would just do a simple Google search can find out his background. He was no big player or anything before Macky Sall, and he tried to befriend and he befriended Abdoulie Wade's government. They always go for the person in power, but he did not make success or from that end. But when Macky Sall came in, he made success, and through his relationship with Macky Sall and the wife of Macky Sall. And I'm emphasizing the wife of Macky Sall, the first lady office in Africa, have to be dismantled. In a sense, they cannot be an institution. They cannot be another extra arm of government, because this is what the incumbents are using to corrupt. In order to bypass the other institutions and undermine those institutions in order for them to be corrupt and to have undue influence onto the people and change the will of the electorate. And this is a separate program that we'll have to work on. And I continue on that post. A simple Google search will expose most of Mr. Thiam unscrupulous business dealings from Senegal public records. The Senegalese public records discloses the relationship he built with former President Wade, who later he betrayed, to create a similar relationship with President Macky Sall. The documents also reveal that he does not have any specific businesses and seems to lack the capacity to deliver any significant project awarded to him via a non-tender process. Please read the report below, research credited to Tony Cisse. The research I have, in my position, I credit to someone I know from over 40 years ago, Mr. Tony Cisse from the Gambia, and we live here in the UK, someone I work closely, someone I trust, and he do help to carry out some of this research. And from that research, I studied the research and come to this conclusion. And in the post, I have attached that research. But in a nutshell, to say that this Mr. Thiam have no specific, he tend to be an IT guy. He started that because that was what is available, and he was given a privilege wrongfully by bypassing, not tendering these projects and everything in Senegal. And he got these projects multi-million, and he failed to deliver. He was involved in some constructions. He failed to deliver from the foundation stone. After the foundation stone, nothing happened. He has no success in delivering any project that we know of. We have Googled him. The company that he presented in the Gambia is a new company that has no proven track record of doing anything absolute. Then it wonders, why give this person contracts? You see, that's why the investigation is important. And it's been proven that he gets this because of, as I put it before, that mentioned before, that he have a strategy. He operates in a way of going to befriend the president and the wife of the presidents and so on. In the case of Gambia, from his relationship with Macky Sall, now he is alleging. It's not something I said. He's alleging, and people around him are confirming that he is a de facto representative of Macky Sall in the Gambia, doing business in the Gambia with Barrow. That's why it's very important for us to look at this. But in this nutshell too, he is very close to the First Lady, and some of the revelations we are going to talk about is involve the relationship that he built with the First Lady. And if you go through the link, you see the series of businesses that have been that have been mentioned above. And now that's the introduction of this program. I want to move on to notes based on the information I received. And again, as I said, that's why I operate the way I do. I believe there's a good in every institution. I believe there's good in politicians. I believe there's good in police officers and any form of law enforcement and any organization for that matter. I believe there's a good in society. What we lack in most cases is the lack of proactiveness, is the case of being passive in the way we exercise our duties as citizens. That's why always I come out, because I live outside the Gambia. I cannot know everything or things that most of the things I need to know. I cannot just know that through going online research. I'll have to contact people within institutions. And when I do that, I post to say that I'm launching an investigation into this, and I'm asking for support in getting these informations, and always I have the informations required, and always been proven to be reliable, because I am trained in way of verificating verifications. I mean, to make sure these informations are collaborated or they are worth sharing to the public. And in this case, again, when I did, within the police department itself, a very senior person who is not directly even linked to this investigation, decided to take it onto himself to get access to the case files and shared that information, which I have taken notes of, and I'm going to share with you. Why am I emphasizing on this? Is to show the example of why we need whistleblowers. This is no betrayal of the forces. This is to help to make sure we hold the force accountable, the police accountable, or institution accountable, in order to make them better. If we or people within the systems continue to ignore or to be passive of the wrongdoings, what will happen is we will lack the information, and when we lack the information, and this continue until it completely destabilizes our country. As we have seen the examples in America, we have seen the example in the United Kingdom. And just recently how a prime minister was removed by his own party, because they have finally come to realization that this is not sustainable, and if it continue, not only their personal interests will be harmed, but the greater good will be affected, and they have to do the right thing, and the right thing they did. Just as in the case of Trump too, when he was cornered, he all these and these are all officers and politicians who supported them, and knowing who the characters they are. But when it comes to the crunch, they think of themselves, they think of accountability, that they will hold accountable, and they will think of because thinking of the consequences of the committing this crime. But again, this helped them to reflect on creating this greater good. This is what makes society progress. And in the case of Trump, we had everything that is happening, going through the congressional hearings today, and it was people within the conservative themselves that realized the crimes they were about to commit, and decided to go against Trump to avert what could have been a catastrophe for America. It have already tainted their democracy, but it could have been a constitutional crisis that could have an everlasting effect on their nation. But that's why we are encouraging the share of information. That's why we have this platform, Open Gambia, to open up Gambia, as an open society, as an information sharing society, to create a conducive environment where we engage in a dialogue. in order to improve our nations. And this, we have to do it collectively. That this doesn't mean, and there's no difference between the diaspora or the people on the ground, not politicians or the people in institutions, not law enforcement officers or opposition or anything else. This is our Gambia, and our Gambia, we have to do things. And that's why I'm crediting this. And again, I appreciate the trust, value put on this for that person to risk whatever he does to share with me the information he does. And all those people that do, I value them greatly for the duty they are doing to country and in supporting our platform and supporting me for able to deliberate on this. This officer explains through the case file, and I am not going to reveal the evidence. I have seen evidence, but this is, I'm going to just narrate the information, but I have evidence wherever it's necessary that evidence will be produced. And this evidence to this information is collaborated by different contacts that are credible and back up with the evidence, material evidence that we have. And something actually happened. Let's move to the new revelations that we found. That the police are in fact not only actively been influenced by the executive, that's from the president's office, the first lady for that matter, because the first lady is the closest to Mr. Abdoulie Thiam, this businessman. And we have narratives of the kind of relationship they have, how close they are, that the first lady even called Mr. Abdoulie Thiam daddy. He calls him daddy. That's how fond of each other they are. And Mr. Abdoulie Thiam have in fact complained that the first lady is very crude in the manner she behaves, that would be begging for money every time and coming over even to his hotel room to beg for money or to meet up, trying to meet up with him in public areas to ask for money. This is a statement that collaborated that Mr. Abdoulie Thiam have even made against the first lady. But now we find out that the police have actually constituted a different, are engaged in a different harassment to a private citizens. And in this harassment, it's because of a private matter, a civil matter, a private matter between Mr. Abdoulie Thiam and a young lady that he had a relationship with. Again, I am not in the nature, because I don't want people to talk about my private life. I'm not in the nature of discussing people's private life. And in doing so, what I am doing, I am not going into any, I am aware of a lot of things that went between the Mr. Abdoulie Thiam and this said young lady, whose name is Aisha Fati, for the records. But that's not the interest here. The interest here is where the institution as the police have infringed the rights. The institution as the police have abused the mandate given to them, the powers given to them in and exercising an illegal directives from the executive and the first lady, and empowering a businessman, and foreign doesn't even matter, whoever it is, towards a young person, and especially a lady. The important thing about this is the police, in a nutshell, what I find out, have represented what the NIA used to do under Yahya Jammeh. Now the NIA are not arresting, are not going after people in this manner, where anybody who have influence or have connections with Yahya Jammeh can report any citizen, and that citizen will be picked up and be maltreated, and his or her rights would be seized, and property might be lost, and they might suffer physical, emotional, harm. And this is what has transpired in my investigations here. Now, the police doesn't have powers to interfere any private matters, and if two people have any civil dispute, they have the courts to go to deal with this. But because of a relationship that broke down between two people, but again we have to look at the dynamics of the people involved here. This is a foreign businessman who is associated to a foreign head of state, and due to that he have a relationship with the present head of state of the Gambia and the wife of the head of state, now using influence of the executive in order to settle scores against a man who felt humiliated, a man who is jealous in a relationship that he was, and to punish a citizen, a woman in that country. If we allow these things to happen, I know there are a lot of things to happen, but if we continue to allow these abuses to happen, who will be next? That's what we should ask ourselves. Who would be next? It might be myself, might be you, might be anybody. That's why we need to break this monopoly or crime syndicate running the country. And the state capture have to be tackled. And that's why I'm tackling this. It's not an easy program to do. As I said, both these people in charge of these institutions, that's Pa Alieu Jawara, head of Interpol, is someone I have a relationship with, and a very firm relationship for that matter, and the Inspector General of Police, who I know, not very committed relationship, but we have connections that I treasure too. But we have to hold this system accountable. Now, I am even surprised that this case, as revealed to me, had occurred from early April. In early April, a relationship between this young lady, Aisha, and Mr. Abdoulie Thiam, the businessman, broke. Probably broke before. But according to the police officer, in April, an investigation was opened against Aisha and a friend of Aisha, another gentleman called Abdoulie Bass, another young gentleman called Abdoulie Bass. And in doing so, what is mentioned in the files, that the Inspector General of Police, or through the Department of Interpol, and head of Interpol, Mr. Jawara, decided to open up an investigation on false pretext. This is the sad thing, on false pretext. And what this investigation is, to fishing around, trying to look for a crime that might or might not be committed, trying to get a young lady into trouble because of that young lady have disappointed or have break up or have had a personal problem with someone, an elderly person, a businessman that she had gone out with. Now, why I said so, you will see in evidence how the investigation have moved from one allegation to another, and still none of that been proven from April, and no charges have been forwarded from April, and no evidence have been forwarded, or even explained in the case file. Now, Mr. Jaw on a false pretense. The reason they went into false pretense, they don't want Mr. Abdoulie Thiam's name to come out in the investigation. They don't want to be seen as doing something wrong on behalf of Mr. Abdoulie Thiam. They know, and this is the sad part of it. These are people who call themselves Muslims. These are people who are parents. These are people who are husbands. These are people who we entrust institutions to knowingly, yes, based on evidence I have, knowingly that they have no evidence, knowingly what they're doing is wrong, knowingly that they are being influenced by an executive, being influenced by a businessman, to go and punish, to go and abuse, go and harass a young lady. And if they do that against this young lady, they will do it on anybody else that if the circumstances arise. They have failed their mandate, and they have failed Gambian people. Now, they know it's wrong. They don't want Mr. Abdoulie Thiam to come into it. That's why throughout this investigation, they have not brought up Mr. Abdoulie Thiam in this. But common sense, and by looking into this, will tell us that the investigation is nothing but trying to settle the scores of Mr. Abdoulie Thiam, because of they haven't brought any substantial allegation, in fact, to do this. And if the Interpol of the Gambia or the Gambia Police Force decided to say that when they see a citizen with material wealth, they have vehicles, they have compounds, they have to go and investigate them, fine. But let them start from where they meant to start. The police have their financial intelligence unit. What about all these corrupt politicians, all the so-called business people, some of these business people we see running around and next minute with everything else? Have we ever had them been investigated for their tax? Have we ever had them investigated for the proceeds of their crime? Even the case of Banta, the one we, impounded the 3 tons of cocaine. The wife is living freely in the Gambia and not been investigated. And all these politicians overnight that became multimillionaires have not been investigated by the police. And on most of these so-called business people, we see expanding empires in the Gambia that have no justifiable market in the Gambia. People that are building hotels from within a decade they own 10 hotels, 5 hotels. Where that market is, how can they generate that much income to do that? They will not do that. I am in the United Kingdom, and I tell you, I am aware. And if I can be aware of the crime syndicate in that country, from drug cartels of South America, from the Russian mafia, from the North Korean mafia on fraud and everything else, in money laundering. Why the police did not know? Because those people are the state capture. Those people are the state capture. Those people are the one enabling through the mechanisms and to determine people elected in office. Now, why start with a young lady? Aisha Fati. Now let's look at this. The Interpol, through Pa Aliu Jawara, the head, decided to send a message, according to these files, to Aisha, the victim. I call her the victim, first victim. And to say that they are investigating a particular vehicle with a particular registration number to be a stolen vehicle. And they went, he sent his agents, and the agents went and escorted in the pretext that invited Aisha, not an arrest, to the police station. Whilst at the police station, that invitation was changed to an arrest without any substantial allegations being made. Before a police officer arrests someone, there must be a reason to believe that the person have committed a crime, or the person is about to commission or commit a crime, or the person have taken part in a conspiracy to commit a crime, or about to take part in a conspiracy to commit a crime. This have not been proven in this case file. Also, now the other thing is they went into seeking the victims' telephones. Both of them, the victims, Aisha and Aisha's friend, Mr. Abdoulie Thiam, the young gentleman. And they started the investigation. When they changed the invitation to arrest, they did not allow them to call any witness. There's no independent witness there. They did not allow them to inform their family. They did not allow them to inform a lawyer, or they have not even offered them the possibility of informing a lawyer. And when that happened, they made this, they checked the vehicle, the particular vehicle, and the particular vehicle they suspected was not even owned by ISA or not registered to ISA, or the second victim apply. But it was to a family member of ISA. And that vehicle was found not to be stolen. Everything on the papers and necessary of the vehicle was legit. Now they have invited someone on false pretext and starting, that's where the fishing started, to try to look for a crime that they can stick on them. Now the allegations, Pa Alieu Jawara forwarded an allegations again, according to the notes of the investigation case file, asking the young lady if the young lady is associated with Nigerians, working with Nigerians in the in gold business, and involved in money laundering, which obviously the lady have completely denied of even knowing any or having any association with any Nigerians for that matter. But where you cannot, again, this is something just shows you and prove that this is just fishing around. If a police officer invites you, the allegations have to be read to you that we invited you here, or we are arresting you for committing this crime or about to commit this crime and with this association. If a crime was, if they had a valid, because Interpol would be that they got a valid complaint from their sister or organization from the sub-region, or there's a summons or anything, that summons should be read to the victims before them. But there's no summons because it did not exist. Now they're trying to intimidate and fabricate, which we had in the during the TRRC, that's what the NIA was doing. The lady, denied ever having any associations or working with Nigerians in gold or money laundering. And they asked them to open their mobile phones, both of them, for them to review their communication. Again, this is if the victims volunteer to do that, that's up to them. But if the victim refuses, it does not constitute. It does not constitute not being cooperative, because there's a law that governs the revelations of evidence or acquiring evidence, or there's a law governing or the procedure of getting people's property in or confiscating citizens' property. But yes, the two victims, complied. Wanted to open their mobile phones so that the police would have a pick on their conversations to see if they will find anything. But abruptly, Mr. Pa Alieu Jawara ended the investigations and postponed the investigations for another day. But they asked them to hand over their mobile phones, which they did. The other occasion, I don't know which day it happened, I didn't take the date. They were invited again. This time when they came, an IT expert from the police was present, and Pa Alieu Jawara asked the two victims to open their, provide their passcodes to their phones, so that the IT guy would take their time to go through the phone to investigate, if they have any links. And obviously and rightfully, the victims refuse, that they are not going to hand over their phones to someone to go through it all, or they have no reason to do that, and the police have no reason to ask them to do that, and in this case, their privacy is at risk. We all know. Just as I have access to the case file, if anything was lifted from that phone, I'll tell you, many people by now, it will gone viral. They said no. This will compromise our privacy. And this is where intimidation started. again, the police, if the police needed to do this, there's a procedure to follow, and the police know that there's a procedure to follow. The IGP is a lawyer, and Mr. Palu Jawara is an experienced police officer. He knows the rule, the procedures to follow, but they did not. Because to follow that procedure, they have to go through a judge to demand a summons that would make them able to seize or impound and make a search and to compel these witnesses to comply. But they knew that if they have to go through a judge or a magistrate to get this warrant, they will have to disclose a reasonable evidence to the judge or the magistrate for them to be allowed to do this, and they know that they don't have that evidence to do. And this continued, and in a nutshell, these two victims were detained in separate times that went on to about six days, separate times, not continuous, like 24 hours up to limitations. They are released and they were put on bail. Again, how can you put someone on bail you have not charged them on offense? Now, I want Gambians to think of this for themselves. If this happened to you, if this happened to your wife, your daughter, your sisters, what would you feel? What would you feel? They have not been charged of a crime. How can you put someone on a bail? And put a stiff bail condition from 1 million to 10 million. And they have not committed a crime. And there's no reason that they would need to flee. When they fail, when they fail to find that car stolen, they asked for 2 vehicles from ISA. These 2 vehicles, now that's where the question is. These 2 vehicles were gifted to ISA, allegedly, that's what ISA claimed, and that's what's on ISA document, by the businessman Abdoulie Thiam when they were in a relationship. And these vehicles were imported by Abdoulie Thiam and gifted by Abdoulie Thiam. Abdoulie Thiam must have the proof of purchase and everything else. Now, if those vehicles were stolen, Abdoulie Thiam should have been the person investigated, not the person, and the person who received. But Abdoulie Thiam was not investigated. The person who received would not have received a stolen property if the property was not stolen. You see the deliberate, what I'm saying about the deliberate, and my disappointment in these 2 gentlemen. And the police, undermining the rule of law and harassing, and abusing the human rights of a citizen. This is what we talked about in the TRRC, and this is what the police are doing right now. They asked for these 2 vehicles, and the lady provided the documents, original documents, which were photocopied by the Interpol. They provided the spare keys to the vehicle, 2 vehicles. They're all in her name, legit, all done right. Now, who ordered the vehicles? Why not investigate that person? No. Now they went on to say that those vehicles were stolen. If they were stolen, who stole the vehicles? Why not go for them? And the lady have said where she got the vehicles. But they are not touching that. Because, no, it's not about stealing a vehicle. It's about doing something for a jilted man. An older man who dated a younger person and now felt betrayed or felt abandoned and feel jealous and grieved or whatever it is, now is using that, just as now using the police in order to seize a property owned by someone else. You see, that's why I said this angle of the investigation is very important to expose this government for what they are. It moves on. It's not even gonna get better. Sorry, not better. It's getting ridiculous as we go in this investigation. They put these people on bail. They on bail conditions, very harsh bail conditions. They are stopping them from traveling, which might affect not only their freedom but might affect their income, their business, whatever they do, and the people, in fact, that bail them are under these people have to surrender travel documents and everything else. Why? To what crime? A crime has not been committed. They have not even alleged any substantiated crime. It went on. Then the investigation moved from the car that was gifted by Mr. Thiam and impounded by the police now. They're trying to force the lady to surrender these vehicles. To who? Who is the rightful owner? Why is the police involved in this? The car are not, were not, and according to the senior police officer, he said that his sources within the investigation have said to him that even Pa Aliu Jawara knew that these vehicles were not stolen. And if they were stolen, again, as I said, my logic, that the person who stole it should have been arrested, not only the person who received it. The person who received it, obviously, should have to answer to the crime themselves, but it has not been proven. Then, Pa Aliu Jawara knew and realized how ridiculous and how borderline or whatever it is. Now he is trying to excuse himself, but push junior officers to move the investigations into another room. And when they move into the other room, this some junior officers, I did not know their name, and I do not even want to share their name because of they are not the sole responsibility. It's the senior officers that I needed instructing them, and that's why we made the similar allegations again on these two vehicles, saying that the chassis of the vehicles were changed. And again, if that is true, why they didn't go and arrest Mr. Thiam? The vehicles did not find themselves in the hands of the young lady. The vehicles did not transport themselves in the hand, to the young lady. The vehicles were transported, were purchased, whatever it is, handled and transported and gifted to the young lady, and the young lady did the other bit is to clear it. Now, if anything or anybody should be held responsible, should be Mr. Thiam on this, and a lesser responsibility would be the person who received the stolen goods. Gambia, can we just digest that? Can we just digest that first before we move on to the other allegations? Now, they move away from that allegations. As I call it, move away, because they have not established anything. They could not establish anything. They tried to intimidate these victims. Because of the victims did not crack, they refused to hand over the original documents. They refused to hand over the case. This is still because of we are just starting. It will come a time that if any citizen refuse these people, they will torture you for you to do it. If it was the NIA times, these two victims would dare not refuse. Or if they refuse, they would have been tortured. We have not got there yet. But if we continue in this route, that's where it's going to go. That's why the freedom that we fought for, up to the extent that we neutralize the NIA, the police pick it up, we have to stop the police on their track. If we don't stop the police on their track, the next million will be tortured. Yes, and technically they've been tortured because of psychologically they are tortured. They are harmed in many ways. Their businesses, their lives, their freedom have been restricted, and everything else which is wrong. But it could go even severe if we don't stop this. They could not establish anything. They moved the allegations to a new one. Now, the allegations moved to ask the young lady that if he takes any nude pictures of people, just see this. Just see this. How can you invite a citizen and you did not allege the citizen that you have taken the photos of this person and this person have laid a complaint on us. No. No. That should be the procedure. If you receive a complaint, you have to disclose the complaint to the person being accused. What we have in the Gambia is presume the innocence of a victim or of a person until found guilty. And in the investigation, that presumption of innocence have to be captured. That's why the police should operate independently, not to be interfered with. The police turned around to ask the lady if you got nudes of men that in your phone, and nudes of men in your phone or videos that you use to extort money from them. Did anyone complain about that? According to the file, I saw they have not put a complaint. There's no complaint. There's no summons on that. They are fishing around. Now, let's ask ourselves, now, why would they do this? Now, the vehicles involved was owned by Mr. Abdoulie Thiam Gifted. Did Mr. Abdoulie Thiam believe, I'm not sure whether it exists or not, believe that there's a video that exists that he have been compromised or whatever? Now he's trying to get the police to extort this evidence, and that is even stupid. Because if any person have got evidence on anyone nowadays, they don't save it on their phone, they save it in the clouds. They save it in the clouds. Now, I am just asking the question here. Why did they bring about these allegations again? Or asking these questions? Because it's not even an allegation. They're asking a question. Why does this question come about? Are there any complaints? Who complained? Just shows you how ridiculous these things are going. The lady, of course, said no. I don't do that. They did not ask it for a specific person or timeline or anything. She said she have not done that. Then Mr. Pa'alu Jawara played a video. Would we be pornographic, we call it, on a laptop, and asked the lady if she was responsible for that. And according to the file from the senior police officer, he said that he saw the video, and the video is not of the lady, the video is not of Abdoulie Thiam, and the video could be about any other people. And of course, the lady said, no, it's not me in there, it's not my video, and it did not come from my phone, because you still did not open my phone. How can you turn around to allege? I am disappointed in Palu and the police. Now they are fabricating evidence. Didn't we hear that in the TRRC? And we call ourselves Muslims. And some of us are fasting at this period, expecting the blessings of Allah to be on us, expecting the blessings of Allah to be on our lands. And we keep on wondering why we live in the environment we live in. Is it to call yourself a believer? Is it to call yourself a Christian or a Muslim? Now, this is a pure fabrication. That's what the senior police officer said to me. This is why he's angry. He said his institution has been undermined. And he is thinking of retirement, going on an early retirement, because it's not sustainable anymore. But he has to share in order to try to see what he can do while still within these services. He said that he is definitely sure that this allegation video was lifted somewhere else. And the common sense, as he said in the file, that the lady phone is still not been accessed. How did they then access this video? And again, because it was fabricated, I don't know what they're trying to gain from that. They move away. Now they cannot establish that, because if they have established that, they would have been charged. Still, they have not been charged. That's a fabrication. Now they continue holding this lady, these two victims for that matter, the lady and the friend Abdoulie Bas, and on a bail condition, and they are continuing being harassed, and at times keeping them in custody and releasing them. They are continue reporting. This is an abuse of citizens' right. This is undermining the rule of law. This is corruption for the highest level. How can we trust the police if they are doing this thing now? How can we trust anything from the police? And how do we expect to live in peace? How do we expect, to live in a society that's advanced and progressed if this is what our institutions turn out to be? And again, this goes to us, especially us people who are privileged to be able to have a voice, to hold this voice, to make sure we hold our institutions accountable. Because it's not going to end with these victims we have already. It's going to continue. It's going to continue. And if we look at the background of Mr. Thiam, in Senegal, which is in public records, the way he goes around to establish himself by befriending the government, because he was first the friend of Wada, and obviously he did not even make much. Probably Wada rule ended. He betrayed Wada. They are not principled. They always go for the highest bidder. State capture. He went and befriended the Macky Sall, and now entrenched in Macky Sall, and befriended Macky Sall's wife. And these are the people that established that foundation for Macky Sall's wife in order to undermine the institutions. And he gifted 2 vehicles to Macky Sall. These are all public records. And those 2 vehicles, in fact, I don't know where he goes around giving vehicles. They get engulfed in fire and nearly, cause, and we pose a risk to Macky Sall's life, actually. One in at the gates of the palace in Dakar, one in Chess, in Tiwawan, when Macky Sall went for one of those religious gatherings. And his mode of operandi is clear. By befriending these people, he gets access to contracts. And through Senegal's public records, we have seen the evidence of series of businesses have gone through. That he was awarded this business, given an opportunity wrongfully, but without going through the tender system. And he failed to deliver. He failed to deliver on them. They are there public records. He was found wanted. And one of them was a project, in fact, from the foundation stone, nothing have happened. But he came to the Gambia through Macky Sall, friend of Macky Sall, and gifted 2 vehicles to Barrow, and probably God knows to how much. But we have this collaborated testimony from people too that they know that he's even more closer to the First Lady. You see, because that's the First Lady office now, they used to do these deals, as we have seen in the 35 million transfer. Closer to the First Lady, to the extent that the First Lady called him Daddy. Daddy. And he alleges that First Lady always begged for money and so on. And he alleged that he gave $1 million to Barrow for elections. He alleged that Macky Sall gave $5 million to Barrow for elections. Is it true? I don't know. But this too has been collaborated because of he talks a lot. He talks a lot, and he has been talking to a lot of people. Now, we established this as facts, that these vehicles are fact that he gifted, and we have seen now how he went about and to be given this land and the land controversy, and now we can know the reasons then why the government is adamant that they have to take this land and doing everything illegal to seize this land. And this particular land, again, let's think about this. It was given for what? And the contract signed by government was for the OIC hotel. The OIC, if it's going to happen, is by December. That hotel that he claimed that he's going to build would take minimum of 5 years. If people don't understand the construction of that magnitude, I tell you, the feasibility of that happening is 0. He doesn't have the money. He have not having proven track record. The proven track record, we know that anything he starts, he doesn't finish, and it will end up into something else. It's a scam. And when he even was given the land, if he has started construction, that construction could have not been finished. Only ground preparation will take for a long time. Mobilization of funds did not happen. But how did someone like this get to the corridors of power? Should not have, if we do our due diligence in government. But no, we don't do due diligence. These are the characters we have parading themselves before the government claiming to be businessmen and investors. They are cowboy operators. And now, why then continue onto this? What would be the agreement now? The agreement was that the hotel was going to host the guests of the OIC and after be returned to the government. Now, it's not going to host anything. But why do they continue? Because of they have implicated themselves. And now it's up to Gambians. This is not a fight about Neneh Gomes and the company he represents. This is not about a fight about Aisha and Abdoulie and Abdoulie Thiam. This is a fight for social justice. This is a fight to eradicate corruption. This is a fight to hold institutions accountable. This is a fight to avoid this continue repeating. This is a fight to hold this rot. If not, this will destabilize our country. And Gambia, we are not sitting on a safe plane. It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. And if we understand the geopolitics realities right now, with what is happening in Nigeria and others, will be presented another program. Thank you very much, guys. I wanted this to be under an hour. It's just gone 5 minutes past the hour. Please, again, after the Tobaski, we'll come back, inshallah, to work on this platform we have now, Open Gambia. Please share, like, follow us, and we will present what the program stands for. We do a special program for that, for people to be aware what the program stands for and to move on from there. We are trying to do things effectively as possible in order to deliver what we are, our mandate, to our people. Yeah, thank you very much, and I wish you again, on myself, my family, and my colleagues behind this platform, very happy Tobaski, and my Jolas, Shereros, Sarahulis, and Kabunkas, to be careful of what they're going to do tomorrow, because we want them to be around for us to have this dialogue. Thank you very much, guys, and have a good evening. Jërëjëf.